Hello, all you lovely beings out there. It's Gina here. Um, just to do a general card reading during this time of change and transformation for all of us. And what does our presence have to share with us? Our collective presence have to share in this time of the golden age. We're going to have the Diana Cooper's book, Golden Future, have for us at this time. Just one card right now. It's this is also being recorded on 10/9 of 2024. Um, I just felt inspired to come on and recognizing there's such a vast amounts of energy going in through and around us, and that we're feeling it all. If you're anything like me or similar, you're feeling it all, and it can easily get muddled up. Um, or you can easily bring something to your awareness that needs to be addressed. It's so much. It's your body, your life, your own awareness, your presence. So take time to ask yourself what is going on with you, and because in being aware that there's some people that are in these places of the inability to feel. This is really interesting. The last time I pulled from this deck, this same card came out, the 12 chakras. And those of you that are watching my other recording when it gets posted, that's what we just did, a energetic clearing to the light body and balancing of our chakras. I may not have verbally spoke to every single chakra itself, but we're doing a clearing, collective clearing. Okay, let's hear this. Wow. Okay, waters of the planet. So apparently these readings are going together. Psychic gifts, crystalline light body, travel. This is so interesting. Sexuality. So those of you that watched my prior video that will be posted as well, I started talking about I began talking about relationships that are from the 5D quality and the difference in that in the way the 3D feels. And here we have sexuality, an expression of pure love. Okay, so when I was speaking about in that video, I don't think I went completely very deep into that quality, but over the past number of months, I've been shown over and over again at different, the contrast in which that 5-dimensional way versus the 3-dimensional way of communicating with one each other feels and looks like. But particularly because it'll have an outward expression, right? But when you're connecting, and we're gonna leave the actual piece of sexual intimacy off of this reading at this point, because our sexuality is not isolated to the physical intimacy that one shares through sex. Sexuality it's our body. It's an expression of energy and desire and movement, but from this place of through the heart now. So we're moving from the heart. If you look at this card, it's shaped in this almost heart, but it's an infinity. And look at all that color, the connection. They're connected beyond the physical, beyond the physical. There is so much harmony. And there's two hummingbirds here, one here and one there. There, and look at their eye center, totally lit up, completely lit up online. The telepathic communication online. This is an infinity symbol that they're in. It's looping. And in the prior reading, I briefly made reference to the higher heart and Alta Major, where that also makes a figure eight. Your energy coming in also makes a figure eight in different ways. There's many energetic currents that come in a figure eight pattern. The more and more you're connecting, you're in your toroidal field. So when you're in the 5D energy and above, you're in your sovereignty. You're no longer interjecting your energy in a way that interferes with someone's divine essence coming through. There's no power struggle. There's no manipulation, whether on a conscious or subconscious level. It's all gone. It does not get in the way, even if you're still working on things. You and that person are at a different level within yourself because you've been elevated, and it's rooted in the energy when you come together as collaborating partners. And this does not mean that you're physically having sex. Okay, it just really invite you to let go of that isolating interpretation. Well, yes, it can be a part of someone's connection, but it's about where the connection is coming from. It's a deeper knowing from the heart that has so much respect and honor for one's body and for their partner. Okay. It's rooted in the earth energies. The energy comes up through the earth star chakra, then in through, like, that's where the two energies of the two people will connect, there, outside of the body, beneath. And then the energies come up and it arcs around, but it also will come up through your core center, that you remain God sovereign and free. It's a very powerful place to connect, and you'll be connecting on a telepathic level without interfering with each other's sovereignty and personal power. There's safety, there's security. You're online, and you're in the ability to express pure love without being afraid of how it might be received by the other person. And I remember having this experience, and I go up to my friend, an acquaintance, but soul friend, soul sister, right? An acquaintance in this life, right? When you just meet people, that's soul family, but you don't have history in this life, but you have history in others. So you come for a common good and you meet, and it's familiar when you're in that energy together collectively. So you have a soul sister or soul brother. Those relationships take time to develop and they need space. Okay. But able to go up to her freely and share from the heart and just say, I love you. I love witnessing how much you've grown. And for it to be received and to be seen in that same way. The authenticity that comes through that space of love. There's no attachment. There's no entanglement. There's this eternal moment of now and the purity of one's heart in their light, in the essence of God that lives within each of you. So as I'm looking at this, I'm drawn back to your 12 chakras, which our light body is infinite. Okay. You are on your ascension path. There's your individual ascension path. There's the collective ascension. There's the planetary ascension. It's all one together. It's all woven together. So how might you Mm. Here we have again the crystalline light body. Support building your crystalline light body. And here again, it's the crystalline Merkaba, because that too will take on a different shape than we're accustomed to seeing and learning about. Okay. So again, these are all aspects as our light body comes online. Our Merkaba expands and grows because it's a harmonization of our divine masculine and feminine, among other things. But if you look, here we are again, the hearts are lit up. Here we go again, the two concentric rings, your own spheres of light. So that's what I was shown in my example. We were two separate spheres coming together to join in as one sphere, but still in our sovereignty together. Let me see if I could find my handwritten notes on that real quick. I'm going to pause for just a second. Okay, I found it. And what I called it, and bear with me because I have not gone back to this to make corrections and clarifications on when I asked what I experienced, and then I just was in the middle of the desert and wrote this out. Um, what is divine complementary 5D connection? That was what I questioned, the question I had. And I wrote, that can happen between any and all persons without the emotional and mental bodies getting in the way. You're God, sovereign, and free. Complementary energy. Okay. Complementary energy. It is a complementary energy of masculine and feminine power rooted from Earth's core crystal, aligns into balance heaven and earth in an individual heart flame. And when two complementary persons align together, this source energy rises up through the lower chakras externally from the body into and through the Earth Star chakra, approximately 3 feet below your feet. Each person's source energy comes up from the earth into the Earth Star chakra. That's where the energy meets and weaves together in harmony, complementary. And this energy continues to magnetize up through the root, sacral, solar plexus, and so on. And it may generate around as the energy spirals within the orb of the divine complementary energies held within two persons individually and together, creating essentially one sphere of light. Each person maintains their God sovereignty and freedom while weaving energy together for a common creation purpose and intention. Okay. And what so many have experienced, and which I feel will experience less and less of as you master your body, as you're in your ascension, as you're evolving, is the volatility will be stabilized because you'll stabilize the Merkaba system. You'll stabilize your own inner being. Where did I'm holding that. The crystalline body is becoming more stabilized within you emotionally, mentally, and physically. And that's it. Really, really amazing. This is where we're headed in the golden age. Some of us are already there. Other of us are still challenged with it, but heading further there, each and each day is a little bit closer. Okay. The energy, if not harmonized and grounded within the individual, has the potential to be unstable and volatile. When stable and grounded and harmonized within each person and joined together from the energy down from the heavens and magnetizes and draws the light energy up from the crystal magnetic core from the earth. This happens simultaneously. One may feel it is entering through the crown and down, or up through the earth star and up. Now, what I felt, because energy runs up the body, right? when we're connecting to the earth, it runs up the body. That's the way I felt it. And it makes sense to me when I break down the 12D shield because we're visualizing the Merkaba in our mind's eye, and because it holds the Christos Sophia code, as well as your gender principle, of masculine and feminine energy, and you visualize that and you take it down to the earth, the hub of the earth. And then you expand that energy from there and you connect into that port, if you will. Portal, right? Energy. It's a hub of energy that holds your 12th dimensional field in it. Okay, so when you're reaching this level, you are in your 12th dimensional body, energetic body, integrating. So as you do these things, and that energy gets brought up through the body, okay? But it's also very important that it is connected and grounded in the celestial cosmic heart of Andromeda. Okay. So that requires the continued purification and balancing and harmony. What we did in the other video of your chakra system, your light body, your relationship to sexuality. It's really many of us are moving and letting go of these things. And I know for myself what I was talking about before, I had to let go of that relationship because it was all imbalanced. It was not a romantic one, but the imbalance of those energies, it was too like there was I'm like, no way, I'm not going backward in that. And because it's highly manipulative and controlling, right? And that's for someone else to do their work. It's not for me to do their work for them. And it's not for me to be re-entangled into that. What happens, it creates a big imbalance, interference, right? So they were going back to the 3D example of it's an old way of operating. It creates interference in someone's sovereignty, into their personal power of choice. It hits into safety and freedom, and sometimes it can often be confused, and the other party is blamed for it when it's actually it's both parties, but there's a certain quality sometimes in one that will twist and distort what's occurring because they're not looking at themselves in the way they're operating. They're refusing and resisting it because perhaps there's too much fear there of their own past experience that they have to address. So that in the 3D lower energies is their way. It's a trauma response to maintain control and a sense of safety when manipulating people through the sacral, and they'll use their sensuality to gain what they want. And it's men and women both do it. So it's about harmonizing that, and you move into um, the 5D and above, right? Because once you have to do your inner work, if you're on the path of ascension and you're not doing your inner work, this does not happen. It doesn't happen. You remain in conflict in your relationships with others because you haven't created your new foundation. Okay, your crystalline light body requires a foundation, your Merkaba activation, heart activation. Many of us are going through that next level of heart activation where the lotus is fully opening up. The lotus, look at that. The lotus is fully opening up, right? And so when this happens, as you continue to grow, you'll see, even in this depiction here of the 12 chakras, you see the light coming in, the sphere behind you, as many, Jesus will have a sphere, enlightened beings, right? You're becoming enlightened, and you see all this beautiful energy coming in, and everything becomes more colorful and orbs, right? Shapes. And the way that energy moves, it's very different. It will arc in different ways because you'll be in your toroidal field, right? But you'll notice your higher chakras, it's pure. You're pure in your golden light, your soul star, your causal, it's all coming in, and you're just lit up in these beautiful ways. And they're more opalescent and you just move and be in the body so much easier because now you're in the etheric energy. The heavens are in your body much more. You're less dense, right? So for many of us, the telepathic ability will come online. Your ability for clairvoyancy is coming online. Um, and but you're learned the ability to be in such integrity with the gifts, right? Because what I'm witnessing from others when they're not in, they're in the 3D place and they're still trying to, they're misusing the qualities and the gifts and then wondering why they can't manifest anymore and wondering why things are because they're still creating a karmic wheel of limitation and stuckness because the misuse of power. Their intention is not pure. Um, and sometimes when you're unwilling to see it, sometimes you have a shadow piece that you can't see and you need assistance, but you have to be willing to receive that. So what I've witnessed recently is in multiple occasions, the whole like, I'm going to reject everything you say because on some level, they don't want to be challenged with the truth. They don't want to be challenged with the truth of themselves. So if you're unwilling to see the truth of yourself and your experiences, and then you're going to limit your ascension because you must purify and release these old ways of being and integrate, right? Because the release is about integration, where I feel people get like, oh, I'm just letting it go. Yes and no, you're integrating the qualities into light and recognizing, oh, yeah, I don't need to be that way. Let's integrate it back into light and thank you and bring the good with you because it's teaching you something. Okay. So you have to learn part of this is trusting your intuitive gifts, right? When and see the throat, we had that tightness in the throat from the prior reading, or clearing, I should say. And here it is, we're coming in. Part of that's directly connected also to our gut and our intuition, the throat and the higher heart, and it's our God self, right? It's our ability to communicate the divinity, right? So using your voice is so important to speak the truth. And I know for me, one of my challenges was like to not speak to what was occurring sooner because then things manifest, right? And right, but look at all that. So many of us are coming into our divine power with so much clarity and ease and being comfortable and speaking. And look at that beautiful hummingbird and all those bubbly spheres of light around. It looks like bubbles. Like it's beautiful. And all this color, right? And it's just amazing, whoever designed these cards. And look at how light is coming into that third eye. And to me, when I first saw it, it looked like music. It looked like music, but it's spiraling up and arcing and all these different things. And it's just the gateways for you and the connection coming in is so powerful, so pure, so clean that the ability just to like, oh my God, I can breathe again, which brings us to the waters, right? The waters of the planet. And how might I ride these waves as I'm looking at these images? Ride these waves. Because this too was the card that came up the first time I used this deck. And we have the dolphin energy in here, and dolphins can represent so many things, and playfulness is one of them, and joy. And they too, dolphins have a high sexual experience. They're known to have pleasure. So that kind of brings us back to the sexuality part that maybe now it's time to bring in maybe what the card actually has to share with us, but also where your level of ecstasy and joy in the body and in your relationships will take on a totally different experience. Um, okay. So part of blessing the rain, the rivers, and the oceans, not just of the planet, it's also of our body. Okay, it's also blessing the waters of your body because you're directly connected to that waters of the planet. Um, those of you that are familiar with Patricia Cota Robles, she does have I couldn't find it the other day. I was looking on her website, but there's a water ceremony that she has, and you can order it and you just pay for shipping, and she sends you a little vial of water, and you can do a prayer, and then you can take it with you and bless any water area that you're at. So, um, but if you can't come across that, maybe reach out to me. I can easily create one for you and create a starter bottle for you, um, and send you the prayer. And then you would just have to do the same thing. Just pay for the shipping for me to send it to you if you're not, you know, and or create your and you or you maybe you create your own, but I know all the original water was created from different sacred sites from across the world and put into one bottle. So if that interests you, feel free to reach out, but check her website first. I just didn't see it up there anymore is the thing. Um, but waters of the planet, right? And even the water looks like a giant whale tail, but there's rainbows. It's rainbows. It's about we're purifying our planet again together. She also is purifying herself. But there's this ability to travel as we're moving from riding the waters, right? Because it's also our emotions. How might are you riding the waves of your emotions? And right now, emotions are really, really at the surface for so many, up and down, up and down, up and down. And I know I've been experiencing that myself. How are you riding those waves of emotions? Right? Are you centered and grounded? Are you returning uh, and recognizing the turmoil is assisting this next phase of the light body to come into a higher calibration, not just of our body, but also the planet. Um, so from a higher perspective, know that if that supports you in some way, okay, and then you can be in this and just be, right? And it's hard for some of us right now. And yeah, and so we have travel as the last card here. Card number 15, find ecological ways to explore the world. It's interesting because there's all these different things on here. There's a little spaceship, there's a bird, there's a butterfly, there's a pyramid structure with a lot of sacred geometry on it. The young girl she's on a disc that hovers. And then there's another hummingbird. I love the hummingbird represents so much beauty and harmony and joy. I love it. Another bird here and then a plane. So it's very interesting because at some time in the golden future, um, we're going to be able to teleport ourselves and project. So that would probably be the most ecological way ever to visualize your particle self. And then I'm going to go across the world and boop, I'm there within moments like Star Trek, like beam me up. But it's saying find ecological ways to explore the world. Um, You can also get into such a meditative state, and I believe the delta state, and then all of a sudden be it's almost like if you were to bilocate, and then all of a sudden you're somewhere else experiencing it, seeing it, tasting it. I got to that state once, not unintentionally, but I was so focused, and then all of a sudden I saw it all. I was in Italy. I was eating strawberries and cheese, and I was thinking about bread, how great it would be to have some fresh bread. And then all of a sudden I could hear the sounds of the street and the little apartment I was in, and I was there. I was there. And so some of this too is like to stay on your timeline, to choose your timeline of ascension. Are you choosing to ascend? Are you choosing to be in your crystalline body and advance in your abilities, advance in your structure, in your energetic structure, in your light body, advance in your sexuality and your relationships? It's beyond the sexual. You're expanding in your relationship to the body, to each other, to everything. But I do want to read it because there may be the actual, I'll say partner connection because that feels like it too. But that everything we connect with is coming from that place of love where there's really, I don't want to say aren't challenges, but the way in which someone discusses their experiences and grow together will come with more ease because of the sovereignty in oneself. There's no battle for power, right? There's no power having it this way or that way. And that is something I'm grateful to have let go of. Um, because it's just like, no, you don't, no one has a place to try to exert power over me anymore, period. And I will no, I will always say no to that. And that sometimes there may be a loss of a friendship or whatever. And I don't mean to be dismissive, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Because I don't like the way it feels to for someone to be in my field like that, you know. Um, and then I get pulled out. It's like literally siphoning the energy, and then they've created. Then all of a sudden, the post people, not I can't be. Um, all of a sudden, when we're in the 3D way of being, it creates drama, and then all of a sudden, it gives something for that particular person. I'm gonna go talk about it now. So and so, I had this experience for so and so, and it'll just go on, and I'm just like, okay, you know, it's the pattern in ourselves, right? And you can't separate um that there are two people that created the pattern, right? There's two people. You can't separate it. You can't blame one person, but you can take you must in your own ascension take accountability for your part, your patterns, and what you're supposed to be working on until you get the lesson. Otherwise, the potential gets bigger until you get it, right? Until you get it. So anyhow, back to sexuality in from the golden future. Yep, sacral energy. Okay. Relationships, love, heart connection. It's connected to the heart. Okay. It's connected to your adrenals. And you know, the okay, so the sacral chakra of love and the navel. Okay, think about the navel, your first place of nutrients. The navel chakra holds the 5D frequencies. Okay. The sacral chakra of love and navel chakra of oneness, right? It holds oneness, 5D and above, oneness energy, are two separate centers encapsulated within one large one. Okay, it works together. Some people will say the solar plexus and navel work together. Now, I see that this entire unit works together. There's no right or wrong way to visualize this, okay? Because each of us are going to be shown something. When they are balanced and energy flows perfectly between them, people understand and experience higher love. That's the example I was giving to you when I was reading about my experience on feeling the difference and feeling the energy. And it definitely had come up through that sacral center and it arced around us, and our hearts were open and we were communicating telepathically. We were having a completely different conversation simultaneously while having our human connection and very present in both because our presence took over. Okay. Yeah. The center is encapsulated within one large one. When they are balanced and an energy flows perfectly between them, people understand and experience higher love. They also develop pure clairsentience, pure feeling, clairsentient feeling. When people love, when people live at a fifth dimensional frequency, their sacral chakras become the softest and most delicate pink. At this level, sexuality is expressed tenderly with love, honor, and respect. Intercourse becomes a transcendent exchange of pure love. And that I know to be very true. Very true. When you have that type of interaction with someone on that level, that is a very true statement. And any of you that have had that experience, you know exactly what I'm talking about because it feels very different. The whole experience is very different. When their when their masculine and feminine energies come perfectly into balance, many souls will embody androgyny. Androgyny. This is really funny. I'm laughing because about 7 or 8 years ago, I was having a session with someone and I was talking to her and she was giving me some guidance. I was working out some things. And I said, well, I just believe that we're headed toward androgyny over the year because we're balancing our bodies and then the physicality of looking masculine or feminine will no longer matter because we'll become more androgynous in our features. And I feel that we're playing this out in so many different ways until we find balance and harmony within the self, right? And so it'll be interesting. And we've seen that in sci-fi movies, like Alien Nation comes to mind. And while there was a definite masculine and feminine counterpart, the androgyny was there. They all looked very this much the same. Even the clothing and the way they presented. Um, right? So complete in themselves, right? That's the key. You're complete in yourself, and they will move beyond sexuality as we know it today. Okay, everything is beyond. Meta is beyond Metatron. In the golden future, couples will experience transcendent love through sexuality. Sex will be considered sacred, special, and beautiful. That's also a very Lemurian way of being as well. The guidance here, because this is what's so important for so many that are fixated. And I say fixated in that way because I've met many when they're fixated on the sex and they haven't done the work to purify and clear that center. And then they're sitting here trying to talk about and discuss sacred sexuality. And yet they're fixated on the act of sex and not the purification piece of what information is held in that center and in relationship to the other chakra centers and in relationship to ascension. So what I've noticed, they're missing a really large component of of growth, which gets in the way of being in the harmony and to get to really where their heart is desiring, but their ego self and lower vibrational stuff is still in the sexual desire of pleasure in a way that's out of balance and not in the sovereignty, right? Um, I have yet to yeah, I don't know. But there be mindful of that. Those of you that are drawn to sacred sexuality, where are you in that within your purification process or calibration or reconciliation or elevated in your centers? Okay, just pay attention to where you are and where the instructor is. Okay, because if they're coming back to the act of physically sexual touch and stuff too soon, like very interesting, like people can get, I'll say, entangled into these things and be unaware that like, oh wait, this was not of pure intent. This wasn't really aligned with my highest purpose. Granted, there's teachings and everything, but be mindful because some people really know how to manipulate that energy because it still has an element of misuse of power, misqualified power. Okay. So, guidance here. Receiving this card suggests it's time to develop the higher chambers of your sacral chakra. Yes. The lessons here include caring for others, giving love, and sharing love. The final lesson is about nurturing and supporting a baby or any vulnerable creature with tenderness. When you do so, your sacral chakra glows with transcendent beauty. It reminds you that the pure love of any kind is special. You are asked to express sexuality in its greatest and purest form of reaching out to others or doing something for them with love, tenderness, and caring. Cherish people and tune into their needs. Aphrodite, who is associated with love, beauty, and fertility, as a high priestess in the Temple of Love in the golden era of Atlantis. The first thing she impressed upon her people when they built the temple, which was consecrated directly to the planet Venus, was to give thanks. So be grateful for all the love in your life and ask the high priestess Aphrodite to help you develop your transcendent sacral chakra. Transcendent. Yes, because you're going to transcend the limitations of the old. You're going to move in to your higher state of being. And I do hope you realize it's beyond the act of sex. It is connecting from the depths of your heart, the depths of your being. Okay. And you'll begin to really trust that intuition even more as you enter into these relationships or say no to some, right? That maybe it has the illusion that this is happening, or excuse me, the illusion that this is happening. And then you realize, like, nope, nope. I'm going to say no because that's still some of the old. And then you wait, you're patient because the actual physical act of sex is solely sacred to anyone. It's a sacred union and sharing of each other's being and body and energy. So, that being, it seems like we need to also read the travel one. But this is what many of us are heading toward and being supported with, even as challenging it is at this particular time with water and hurricanes and destruction. There's a big piece of this is related to ascension and stepping further into our light and unity consciousness collectively and individually. So, what does travel look like? As it says, find ecological ways to explore the world. Soon after 2032, clean, environmental friendly sources of power will create a resurgence of travel and exploration. Vehicles will be ecologically powered and made by biodegradable plant material. What movie did we see this in? Does Back to the Future remind you of this? Anybody Back to the Future fans? Absolutely. What did he come back with? Biodegradable. He would throw what banana peels, whatever he wanted in there. He no longer needed the plutonium that was highly volatile in mind, right? He's like, nope, upgraded totally. I can just redo. I can take the banana pills and bioecology, right? Or biodegradable, excuse me, plant material, biodegradable plant material. Hello. Yes, Back to the Future. Everything that's coming, we've seen it before. What's everything that's here, we see it. Now it's going to begin to materialize. Our technology is there because look at we're in 2024. That's less than a decade away that we will be having this. And it's and for us to have it within a 10-year mark, that means, oh, I just saw, yeah. I don't know if you guys saw it, but Spirit came by. Um, the biodegradable fuel, right? where, and I was speaking to a friend about this. No, everything needs to be that it's regenerative. It's all giving back, and it's all like everything has purpose within the cycle, and there is no more waste. There's no more, right? It's just clean, clean. And this is where we're seeing this old regime, I'll say, being dissolved. That also means it's being dissolved within you, and it can be uncomfortable. Okay. So, yeah, hover plates. That's what she's on, is a hover plate, right? Like you guys talk about hoverboards, right? Hover plates. This is all Back to the Future. Hover plates and silent mini helicopters, which we already see drones before, right? And we've already know there's technology for flying aircrafts, which I thought that looks like a drone for that fits a human person. Mini helicopters will be popular for local trips. Many individuals will reactivate their levitation powers. That is also associated to your Merkaba. Okay. And be able to take short journeys that way. For longer distances, transports will move along in designated layers, like roadways in the sky. Where have we seen this? The Jetsons, anybody? The Jetsons or Tron even. It reminds me of Tron a little bit. Um, am I dating myself with like 80s movies and late 70s? In the sky. Okay, most of these will be operated remotely, but some will be guided by volunteers. That's kind of cool. By 2050, eco-powered rockets will transport travelers worldwide at speeds that are currently beyond our comprehension. That is pretty cool. And where do we always already see some private exploration is through what the company like SpaceX. Um, be mindful of your own feelings about that, but when we're traveling, our way of traveling is archaic, and the technology is has probably been there for us for a long time until we can actually use it with, I'm saying not probably, it is. Sorry, I'm being corrected. It has been there for a long time, and it comes to light when technology and science begin to show it to the surface for the masses. It's because the majority and the masses are able to now receive it and have the integrity to harness it and be with that energy and technology. So technology and science will always be the last to show up as our consciousness awakens. That's part of consciousness manifesting in the physical realm. Okay. And when enough of humanity can hold that level of light and energy, then it gets introduced to us, right? Okay, so we can work with it and have fun and exciting. Um, let's see. Eco-powered rockets will transport travelers worldwide at speeds that are currently beyond our comprehensions. I really feel eventually we're going to be able to teleport anyhow. So that's just a phase where it's just going to be faster than the speed of light, and we're all of a sudden you're in Paris, right? Because of these type of roadways, I guess you can say they're we're gonna have like a uh beyond 2050, we'll have the ability to, what would you call it? It would be like an electric roadway, a path, portal, uh wormholes to travel to other places. Okay. Um for lack of a better terms. Okay, so forgive me if I don't have a clear term, but it'll be even faster than what 2050 is explaining in this deck. People will be able to move freely everywhere without passports. Yeah, and that's not the first time I've heard that. It's just we won't need the identification in the way that has been imposed upon us. Um, and you see people that are resisting so much of the constant things that we're experiencing. People, okay, there will be no borders, and everyone will be welcomed everywhere with an open heart. Yes. And that's what so many people are moving toward. And that's not that far away. It's 25 years from now is what this is projecting. And my experience with Diana Cooper's work is has and as a channel of light and ascension is very on point and timely. And trusting your own intuition and guidance. I look back at some things that I've read and I'm like, oh wow, we're here. We're here. So as you write and create, pay attention to that because you're getting the informational downloads as your heart becomes open and as you're integrating. So in fifth dimension consciousness, people know that their needs will always be met. So a transport will always be there at the perfect time. So many of you, we're all, myself included, we're learning to surrender, let go, and trust that it's all happening at its perfect time. So many of us right now, as it is 2024, um, particularly those that are farther, well, it doesn't matter if you're farther along your ascension path or not, you're still going to feel this at some point. Excuse me, I need a little bit of refreshment. Where because we're mastering the mental body along with trust, it's you feel that ebb and flow of like, oh my gosh, okay, just let me let go. Let me visualize it and trust it's going to be there. It's also a part of heart awakening. And then it shows when you release the contraction in the body and trust it all works out. And then it does. Like one of this interesting example for me, because part of sometimes people in ascension um, go through financial struggle because a reset is happening and a flip and a recalibration and reset. So sometimes you go brought down to zero and then back up to infinite, right? So it's this interesting thing that can be very stressful. And so I was I'm sorry, this video is kind of long. So I was talking to my sister and I'm like, yeah, I just kept noticing my car payment was like significantly low. And I'm like, what is happening? And so it brought me curious to help, when did that start? And then I made a phone call and then I'm like, oh, you had paid some extra amount. And so it's paid ahead. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, so I just paid the small amount, the reduced amount, and then I'll just readjust it back to its original amount for the following month. And the time of it was so perfect because then my car registration was due. And I had gotten that notice like few, like a day or two before, right? So the synchronicities just occur and you're trusting because I'd be like, okay, let me just trust that I'm just going to have the funds. Things are going to come. And they do. They always do. That's exactly what we're ebbing and flowing in and out of our trust, our intuition, our heart, my inner guidance, right? My inner guidance as you're evolving in your ascension. And yeah, so it's a really powerful time right now as you basically are, it's like that whole experience of duality, the way we know it is gone. The whole experience of the Earth training school that we know it to be at this point and everything up to this point will be completely different. Be completely different because you're so much more evolved in your in the relationship. You're meaning also the relationship with yourself. You're much more involved in relationship with the planet and the emotional waters and elements. And then you're in your crystalline body of harmony and balance in your Merkaba, which takes on a sphere-like structure versus the pyramid with tetrahedrons, masculine and feminine, because it's you're unified and you create spheres. And so um you'll be lit up in a totally different way. So your experience in um It's almost like completing your training as a Kumara in some aspect, right? Moving into another level of love, moving into another later level of creator being from the heart. So, right, the Elohim brings us those seven activities of creation um, to be working with. And I'll pull that up for some of you that have forgotten or aren't familiar with those qualities to work with. It's also pinned on my Instagram page by the same name, Soul Inspired Reflections, because you are the Elohim. Okay, you are your 12 crown. All right, you're all those jewels, um, pulling cosmic light into form. All right, so the seven activities is purity of holding divine pattern, externalizing thought form, and I wrote in parentheses focus. Perception is number 3. Number 4 is concentration. Number 5 is constancy. Number 6 is rhythm. Number 7, hold peace. And hold peace and abide by wisdom of the law. So by the time we're getting to these places, we're mastering those seven qualities to hold form, to hold creation, to manifest. We're opening up even more through love. You must hold it through love and peace. And all these things come together more, work together more. Your relationships are more harmonic. So what you're then will be working with in those energies of Venus, of love, because Kamara, Sanat Kamara is a very much a Venus being. Um, Paul, let's see who else. I'm also gonna say Paul the Venetian. Yeah, he's from Venus too. Very much love frequency. And yeah, and it feels like at this time right now, this that I'm speaking, we have a lot of that Arcturian energy coming in. That Arcturian, they're master healers, as well. And I feel like that's my that's the being that's coming in for me right now, that aspect of me, because all these are aspects of you, right? So when at least that's how I interpret it when I'm speaking and a guide comes through, it's an aspect of myself that comes through and in the representation of an Arcturian and blue being. And and let me just double check into that. Yes, okay. It's just like, yeah, it's like, okay, cool. And it gives that guide for me right now has been more present as I step further into the healing work and support. I work with others as well as myself, right? And that includes through these channels because light comes through as I speak and things may be ignited within you. It may be uncomfortable, it may be pleasant, or it could be a mixture of the two. I don't know because I'm not you. Um, but talking about the light body and breathing and supporting you to like, yes, you have the power to assist yourself calibrate, assist yourself anchor in the light and reconnect to your essence. This is about empowerment for to give to you and remind you of that all these things are you. So when you're connecting, it's so important to connect with your I am presence and open your heart because you're really connecting with your aspect, right? And uh that an aspect of you and integrating it into the wholeness of you. And now when you're ready, and I'm being reminded of Alexander Quinn because he shared a story of his experience being in the forest and everything came in. He was filled in more with his presence that they're like, well, you could do this at any time, but you're choosing to just bring in one aspect of yourself at a time, which is totally fine, and which I recommend for anyone, especially if you have not prepared your light body to receive all of you. That could be really it could be very altering if you're unaware of the preparation it takes mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually to allow, and I'm talking more on a soul level, your I am present because it knows, but to allow that level of integration to occur all at one time I feel on a soul level, you must have done so much more preparation to get to that point where you go, okay, I'm ready. And then it just comes in because you're no longer interfered with the emotional body in the same way, or or even the earthly experiences. It's kind of just like, okay, you're unattached but not unfeeling, if that makes sense, right? Unattached but not unfeeling, where you just know you're in the mastery of it all. So, um, let me see, what else did I ever finish reading this? See the card. Oh, so it's again with the travel card, the guidance. Here's the guidance, and then I need to go to bed, because I've for some reason this was more important to do than other things I have on my plate. If you receive this card, Archangel Raphael, who looks after travel of all kinds and protects travelers, is touching you with his emerald light. And we'll bring in that emerald color again because we used that in the other spray, right? Because it's also harmony and balance. And to create, you must be in harmony and balance on that 5D place. Um, yeah, so he looks after travel, is touching you on his with his emerald light. Let me go ahead and spray some of that. It's just like, go ahead for this group. All right. Oh, that smells so nice. I feel so good. Because remember, we're also with the emerald light, we're working with the third eye. Third eye, your heart is now in that blue diamond heart. And the colors change just now. He is in charge of the third eye and is opening you to a new way of looking at life, expeditions, and exploration. We live in a vast, varied, and magnificent planet where there is much to see and experience. Your guidance is to follow your promptings to roam, but that look for ways that are ecological, walking, cycling, or traveling by boat or train. Take longer, but maybe more rewarding. Explore different planes. Excuse me. Well, it could be exploring a different plane. Explore different places, cultures, and societies with interset interest. I wanted to say intersect. Interesting. Intersect. So yeah, what is it? There may be places where there's a cross culture, an intersection too. So right, and how might we all intersect, especially as our borders dissolve, right? It's so fascinating because even our inner borders are dissolving, right? And yeah, and so is our outer borders of this planet. Okay. So in the way we have been living in separation is no longer going to exist in the future. And that's not that far off. So it, it makes sense to just kind of hold on and let go of this turbulent time. Excuse me. Whew. Oh, something big cleared there. Hold on and let go of this turbulent time to explore different places, cultures, and societies with interest. Like take interest in your experiences with other people, with other cultures, because that really can bridge, right? Like if you have an interest in food, that's a beautiful way to connect. Some people have an interest in traveling, and that's a beautiful way to connect, or language, right? And all these different things. And to just, or even the way people are in ritual, right? Or sing or music. It brings you together. Remember, that's the way we're going to enjoy life so much more because you're going to be in a very different place within yourself, your sovereignty. Okay, so to continue to practice that in this moment of now as it's being created and fully coming into manifest in its divine time, because it's already existing in the ether. It has to make its way into the earthly plane. Okay. Enjoy to the wonders of your own country. Yeah. Travel in order to experience and wonder at the diversity of our glorious world. And I know for myself, that's one of the things where I've just been wanting to travel more. I've been wanting to see more of just the United States, that's North America. And so I've been traveling a little bit more through California, and Arizona, which has been fun. So in any event, that is all I have for you tonight. It's been as long as we end as I look at here at 11:11. The gateways are open for us all. And bless you on your journey. Yeah, all right, I'll talk to you soon. I'm Gina, Soul Inspired Reflections. Much love to you. Remember to like and share this video if you found it supportive so others may find it as well.